The never-ending nightmare of Paul Pogba is what we're gonna be reacting to today, lads. Welcome back to another reaction video. Every video we watch will always be in the description down below for you to watch it yourself. But today we're gonna be reacting to Paul Pogba himself, man. And before we jump into this video, I just want to say Paul Pogba was one of my favorite midfielders in world football. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a stage there where Paul Pogba looked like he was really gonna be that guy. And I want to talk about the four-year ban that he's getting, and I know a lot of y'all have seen the terrible news that's coming out, and it stinks because of his age. But look, we're gonna run it for a little bit, and I'll kind of give my opinion on the ban. Let's see what this video is all about. I'm excited to jump into this one. If you enjoy the video, make sure to hit that big thumbs up. Let's go.
It's a time where Paul Pogba looked dead set on becoming a legend in the footballing world.
I think he's still a legend, right?
An infectious personality, great technical skill, pace, and power. By the age of 23, he became the most expensive player in history at the time, costing Manchester United a staggering 105 million euros.
To go back.
Jose Mourinho went on to say that he would be the heart of the club for the next decade and beyond. Well, fast forward 7 years and he's now facing a ban from football altogether off the back of a season with Juventus where he only managed to play a total of 10 games, registering just 1 assist. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how could somebody so naturally talented for the beautiful game, a World Cup winner, end up with his career finished by the age of 30? Well, let's take a look. After captaining his local club at under-13s level, French wonderkid spawning ground Le Havre snapped Pogba up. This is the same club that is blessed the footballing world with the likes of Payet,
I just want to jump in for a second. I think it's awful that they're giving a 4-year ban at the age he's at, because by the time he's done with the ban, not playing ball for 4 years, you can really see this is the end of his career, most likely. Like, this is just where it ends. And it's unfortunate, man, because it is a nightmare for Paul Pogba. Such a likable player. For me, I think he was one of the most likable players in football. And maybe the move from Juve to United is where things went really bad, because United just hasn't been in a great place for many years. But at the end of the day, man, you really got to feel for Paul Pogba, because he is so talented. And it sucks, man. He definitely, you know, maybe he did abuse something, but I just want to say this right now. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure on people to succeed and to live up to certain expectations, that maybe he did take something to try to, you know, some type of steroids, try to push himself to the next level or to get back to that form that he once had at Juve. This is something that happens to a lot of athletes, man. They kind of go through a bad phase in their career and they try to abuse something to get themselves back to where they once were. Pogba had a lot on his shoulders, man. So in my opinion, I really feel bad for the guy, man, because it's two things, right? One, where it's like, yo, you can't do those things. Those things are illegal. You shouldn't be doing them. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like it was a young guy who had a lot of pressure in the football world to be something big and then trying to get back there. And the truth is this, lads, we do put a lot of pressure on our athletes. Anyways, let's run this, man.
Furland, Mendy, Mandanda, and more. By his second season, Pogba found himself captain of their under-16s and cemented his position as a wonder kid in European football, with some of the biggest clubs around interested in his signature. Manchester United would be the ones to end up successfully winning said signature in 2009 when he joined their academy. However, it wouldn't be Man United and Paul Pogba if there wasn't some controversy involved now, would it? You see, he left Le Havre without informing the club, forcing the French outfit to publish an official statement calling out Pogba and his family. See what I mean? This really does feel like some elite level foreshadowing, doesn't it? However, Pogba wasn't the only one getting flack from
It's a beautiful United jersey.
Called out for supposedly offering his parents a lot of money, thus they asked FIFA to intervene. In the end though, United were given the green light and cleared of any potential wrongdoing. This headache could seem to have paid off too, as Pogba was a complete and utter baller for the youth team, becoming an integral part of one of the most iconic academy sides in Man United history, alongside Ravel Morrison and Jesse Lingard. Yeah, I know it doesn't sound that iconic nowadays, but trust me, alright, this team was built different. Now, Pogba's performances rightfully earned himself a call-up to train with the first team, and the following year, it was his time to experience first-team football, with his debut coming against fierce rivals Leeds United in the League Cup. things were going great, right?
Big Paul
Pogba
Pogba
soon found himself in the final year of his contract and decided that if he wanted to pursue a career at the highest level, he needed consistent playing time. Something
that makes sense.
Wasn't ready to give him yet. In fairness, he did have another Paul in midfield who was pretty decent at kicking a ball, so you can't really blame him. Regardless, almost as soon as he had joined, Pogba was gone, with Juventus snatching him up. Now again, wouldn't be Manchester United and Paul Pogba if there wasn't some controversy. Fergie announced in a press conference that he was disappointed in Pogba, stating he showed no respect for the club as he made his decision to leave without even informing them. Listen, alright, I'm just going to say the red flags were there. I mean, this is kind of like exactly what he did to Le Havre to join you guys in the first place. So, what was you expecting, really?
I didn't know this part of Pogba.
Though, disappointment would probably be the only thing he'd end up being consistent with for them. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's be honest, alright? Juventus Pogba, the old version, not this one, is probably one of the most entertaining footballers on the planet. Whilst nowadays he might have an army of haters, back then he was one of the most beloved youngsters, and for good reason. Pogba quickly adapted to life in Serie A with a full 90 minutes on his debut, showcasing his extraordinary talent as a versatile midfielder with his ability to defend, create, and score.
And they got him for free.
Napoli, ending the season as Serie A's next big thing. It was
nice finish as well.
Juventus had paid off big time. His hard work, talent, and dedication was noticed as he was called up to captain the under-20 national side during the 2013 World Cup in Turkey, helping France win it for the first ever.
I didn't know he won the under-21.
Named as player of the tournament.
I did not know that.
His form was only improved heading into the 13-14 season with Juventus, where he went on to register 9 goals and 16 assists.
Wow.
The entire season without missing a single game through injury. In fact, he only missed 1 game, and that was through suspension. This is in stark contrast to the Pogba of today, 10 years later. At this point, though, success just began to naturally flow into Pogba's life. As
he was insane, man.
He rightfully won the Golden Boy Award. He was now officially Europe's most promising youngster, and it kept getting better and better for him. More club success saw him get his first call-up to the French national team. He was going to the 2014 World Cup. This is when the rest of the world came to understand the true talent of Paul Labille Pogba. He played 5 times in that tournament, starting in 4 of them. That was an achievement in and of itself for someone so young, but what made it better was that he ended up being named Young Player of the Tournament with an average match rating of 7.36.
Wow.
Legend of the game Patrick Vieira went on to say that Pogba could be one of the best in the world and that he was more technically gifted than he ever was.
Wow.
This excerpt from Bleacher Report sums up perfectly what the consensus of Pogba was like at the time. The fact that Pogba has played such a big role for both Juventus and his country at a World Cup before he's even turned 22 also says quite a bit about the youngster's future. He not only has at least 2 more World Cups in him, but also a decade left to dominate European football. Wow, how times have changed.
Incredible,
Before
yeah.
we discuss his downfall, there was still some very good times with Juventus. The 2014-15 season saw Pogba achieve double digits in both goals and assists for the first time in his senior career.
He was amazing for Juve, by the way.
Respectfully. There was one problem, though. He also missed 10 games that season through injury, equating to a total of 2 months of football. A hamstring injury, to be precise. You could say it was the early signs of his demise. It's just that nobody could see it yet. That being said, it didn't stop him from returning to football in the second leg of the Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid, where he got the all-important assist to see them through to the final. It was by far the best Juventus has
That was a good assist too. Knocked it down perfectly.
For some time, with many, including myself, hoping that they'd go on to lift the trophy. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, as the iconic MSN trio just proved too much to handle. That didn't stop Pogba being shortlisted for the Ballon d'Or 2 years running, though, where in 2014 he was the youngest player to make the list. After all of this success with Juve, Pogba was handsomely rewarded with the iconic number 10 shirt, once worn by club legends such as Roberto Baggio and Alessandro Del Piero.
Legends.
If it wasn't obvious already, Juventus viewed him as their midfield maestro for the long term, as the responsibility was placed upon his shoulders following the departure of the midfield magician Andrea Pirlo. Big shoes to fill, I know.
Big
But
legend.
Pogba proved that he was the man for the job with another successful season, registering 10 goals and 13 assists, finding himself in the 2015 FIFA Pro World 11. What's
That's
more, he only
crazy,
missed
man.
2 games through injury, so that issue looked to be fixed as well, right? What on earth could possibly go wrong for Paul Pogba going forward? He's going to dominate European football for the next decade. Remember? Hello, I believe you have something that belongs to me. So, I don't think you understand. You're the one that gave him to us. You can't just... Oh, well, when you put it like that... That's right, Manchester United were back with a record-breaking £89 million bid, which saw them secure the signature of Paul Pogba a second time. However, he'd just come fresh off the bat.
Listen,
Possibly...
I don't even want to sound, because you never know what could have happened. He could have panned out for Man United, but it's incredible how certain decisions in your life have such a big impact. If he stayed at Juve, what would he have become? What would he have been? Right? That league just seemed to fit him very well. Or if he even made a move to Spain, right? Like, I don't know why he chose to go back to the Premier League. Was it money? Was it unfinished business? I'm not really sure. But after the words that Alex Ferguson said about him, like, and that's another thing I want to say. You know, the fact that Alex Ferguson didn't like the way he left the club and said the club disrespected him, and the fact that Manchester United still went after him after Alex Ferguson said all that stuff, you would feel like Manchester United wouldn't approach him if they really felt like he disrespected the club and the badge and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but in my opinion, I think if he really disrespected, they should never went back after him. But they did, and he went there, and, well, it all goes kind of downhill, huh?
At Euro 2016. He was heavily criticised for his poor performances. After giving an early penalty away against Ireland in the round of 16, Gary Lineker tweeted asking if Pogba was the most overrated player in world football.
Wow.
His perception had begun to change immediately from world-class talent to waste of money, following the then rumours of his big money move. Seriously though, what actually went wrong? I mean, was it the pressure maybe? Well, the 2016 Euros marked the beginning of a slight position change.
Come on, Portugal.
Despite his numbers of 20 plus goals and assists consistently for the last few years, he saw himself be transitioned into more of a holding midfielder. The risky, flair-ridden creator from Juventus was seemingly killed and replaced with a far slower, pragmatic player, passing from side to side with his teammates in his own half. What's even more confusing was that when he was played in a more advanced position, he played well and contributed greatly to the team, most notably seen when France beat Germany in the semi-finals. Yet for some reason, he was consistently viewed as this deep-lying playmaker who would use his physicality to break up play. And this didn't change during his time at Man United either. Hence why he once again fell considerably short of expectations, registering a measly 9 goals and 6 assists in 51 games. He also missed a whopping 14, once again mostly through an aggravated hamstring injury. That being said, he wasn't all bad. Despite his low numbers, he was one of the most creative players in the league, let down by the forwards around him seemingly forgetting where the goal was, or whilst hitting the goal a total of 9 times himself that season. So there was promise even if he didn't live up to his price tag. After all, he's still a valuable member of one of the most memorable nights in Manchester United's post-Fergie history, scoring in the Europa League final versus Ajax. Overall, it was a season United fans could look at and get hopeful about going into the next one. Trust me, I know. £90 this cost me. Never again.
Oh, man.
Jose Mourinho went to war with the media to defend his top talent, sarcastically labelling them as Einsteins, whilst also stating that he had the foundations to one day become club captain and prove that his world record price tag would be looked back on as cheap. Bring on the following season, where after a bright start, Pogba was sidelined with a hamstring injury. Oh, not this again. This was where the souring relationship between Jose and Pogba began. The special one was reportedly annoyed that the Frenchman went to Miami for his recovery rather than staying with the squad in Manchester, a reoccurring issue that fans and managers of Manchester United would begin to lose their patience with. Fast forward to March 2018, and it is reported that Jose and Pogba weren't even on speaking terms anymore. Pogba would later go to the 2018 World Cup in France and silence many of his haters as he went on to lift the trophy as one of the standout players of the entire tournament. Jose, however, sent a subtle dig towards the player, stating that tournaments like this suit a player such as Pogba as they're only a month long and totally isolated, meaning that he doesn't have chance to lose focus.
Wow.
In the end, though, Pogba returned to United the next season and captained the club in his first game back. The relationship between the two had seemingly recovered, or at least it had for now. He bagged himself 16 goals and provided 11 assists, which was a huge improvement on the previous year. However, it wouldn't take long for their relationship to diminish once more, leading to the Frenchman finding himself dropped from the starting 11 for Scott McTominay.
What?
Hey, Scott's the
Bro,
homie,
what are you
man.
talking
Come on,
about,
man.
man?
Scott's the homie. I love
In
Scott.
spite
Don't do
of
Scott
this,
like that.
A string of poor performances saw the end of Jose's reign in Manchester and the beginning of a reinvigorated Pogba as he was united with then interim manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Not only did the club overall see a surge of good performances, but Pogba himself was at the heart of it all. In his first month under Ole, Pogba registered 4 goals, already equaling his total amount in the previous 20 games under Jose, as well as 3 assists, which was actually a record month for him at the time, not just at United, but in his entire professional career. The 25-year-old became the player with the most goals, most assists, most shots on target, most touches, and most chances created at the club in that year, and by February he was involved in 53% of the club's total goals. However, the summer of 2019 fast approached, and the resurgence of Pogba was overshadowed by the uncertainty of his future. His agent at the time, Mino Raiola, mentioned how he wanted to leave the club, with Pogba even admitting that there were question marks over his future, claiming that it could be a good time to experience a new challenge. That being said, the summer ended and he was going nowhere despite solid interest from Juventus, Barcelona, and Real Madrid. That was good news, right? Well, not for a lot of the fan base. As often is the case at a behemoth like United, no player is bigger than the club, and so when a player states their wish to leave, they should, no matter how good they are. Nonetheless, the 1920 season began, and wow, that's a lot of injuries. Yeah, okay, so that one's a complete write-off. Roll on 2021. Again, injuries were probably the only major consistency in his game, with
I feel like he did the
main man now
the
being
steroids or the
Bruno
doping or whatever
Fernandes.
because of
Everything came crumbling down, however, in the following
the
season.
injuries.
He got a red card against fierce enemies Liverpool, which was subsequently followed up with another hamstring injury, sidelining him for a number of months. Thus, the fans and club had had enough. A string of more poor performances, injuries, trips to Dubai, and transfer speculation later saw Pogba leave Manchester United on a free transfer for the second time in his career after the club decided to not renew his deal. However, Paul went to say during the Pogumentary, no, seriously, that's what it's called, that he was committed to making sure United regretted not renewing his contract that summer. The thing is, he was offered 2 deals of over £290,000 per week. You know what Pogba had to say about that, though? How can you tell a player that you absolutely want him and offer him nothing? My guy, you were going to be one of the highest paid players in Premier League history. Attempted blackmail attempt from his own brother made Paul consider an early retirement. The same month he signed for Juve, Pogba filed a complaint in Turin alleging his brother Matthias was part of a group-organised extortion attempt against him. In August 2022, he was held hostage by a gang armed with assault rifles.
I think I remember
who
this.
demanded £11 million as part of a long-running blackmail plot organised by his brother and friends. Paul ultimately paid £85,000 to the offenders, with Matthias Pogba, his brother, charged and detained by French prosecutors later that year. He ended up being released and denied the allegations, but Paul went on to say, when there is money, you have to be careful. Money changes people. It can break up a family. It can create a war. All Paul wanted at that moment was to be normal. He wished he never had money or fame so that he could be loved for who he was. However, the never-ending nightmare for Pogba continued. Since rejoining Juventus in the summer of 2022 to now, 2024, Pogba has started a grand total of 1 game for the club.
Jeez.
The reason for this being the case in his first season was because of, you guessed it, injuries. The truth behind his second season was much more severe, one that has put the entire future of his career in serious doubt. You see, elevated levels of testosterone were found during a random drugs test taken after Juventus' game against Udinese on August 20th. This saw him suspended indefinitely by the club, with a likely 4-year ban awaiting. He will be in his mid-30s, begging the question of, will we ever see Pogba step foot on a football pitch again. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and check out this one about how Haaland...
That's a great video, man. Like I said, we'll leave the description down, the link to that video in the description down below if you guys want to watch it. But man, it's one of those things that it's sad, man. I think he did the you know, just taking stuff because of the injuries, the pressure of wanting to be something, the pressure of telling United that you're going to prove them wrong for not re-signing you. Just a lot of bad things went Pogba's way, but he was an incredible player to watch during his time at Juve. He was an incredible player to watch even at Manchester United at times. It sucks, man. It sucks it didn't go down a little bit better. I will tell you one thing. Pogba's one of my favorite players. I have a couple of his jerseys. I just wish it could have ended a little bit better for him. And I think to myself, what would it have been if he went to Madrid or Barcelona or somewhere different? What would it have been? You know, there's always that what if, man. But hey, man, I hope the best for Paul Pogba. Sucks that things might end the way they're about to, but what an incredible player he was. What an incredible talent. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that thumbs up. Quick little reaction for y'all. Thanks for watching. But I learned a lot this video. I didn't know that much about Pogba, to be honest. Thanks for watching, lads. See you next time.